The flannel, the Lipton, the glasses, we are so fucking back! Hello all, welcome back to winter... No, this isn't even a winter dust stuff video. Welcome back to the winter ecosystem, where we do some crazy stuff. Today, we have the second official winter ecosystem Q&A. Question and answer for those of you plebes who don't understand what that means. About a few weeks ago, I would say upwards of a few weeks to a month ago, I told you guys to send in questions on both Reminiscent Industries and the Winter Does Stuff channel. Wow. I am fumbling over my goddamn words today. Anyway, I told you guys to send in questions on the Winter Does Stuff channel, the Reminiscent Industries channel. The fabulous people in the Discord server have sent me their questions, so today I am going to read off the questions and answer them as they should be answered with my honest truths. There are some joke questions, there are some true questions, there's a lot of wacky shit, so I think we should just get into it. Let's go. Alrighty then, the first question comes to us from the Mr. Mughead Productions in the server. Thank you for the question, my dude. First question, I understand that you're looking to focus more on original music projects next year. Which project that you have in development do you consider yourself the most excited for? This is a very interesting question, because at the time of recording this, there is actually a project that I am, funny enough, announcing here today that I am working on, that I am legitimately the most excited for out of any of my projects right now. And that is Players and Pieces, the original Nerdcore music album. It is going to be celebrated via the release of the first single coming on Christmas, by the way, which is absolutely insane for me to say. You guys will get that on Christmas, and throughout next year, you guys will get multiple singles, and hopefully by the end of next year, you will get the album of Players and Pieces. I'm really excited to be doing this album. It's going to be a really interesting thing to do. As you know, Unknown, the real Unknown, also known as Unspeakable, is doing the instrumentals for this album along with the Reminiscent Desolation album. We're effectively doing this album as a sort of trial run to see exactly what limits we can push in terms of the instrumental creation on Unknown's end and my vocal end, just messing with a lot of different stuff, different vocal techniques on my end, vocal effects, different instruments and all that stuff on Unknown's end, and I think it's going to be really cool. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it, so yeah, that is coming to you, hopefully by the end of next year, so yeah, that one is the one I'm the most excited about. And now we have a group of questions from Mr. Leadus, the unfortunate, my amazing team member. Happy to see you, dude. With the obligatory, so what does not sound like? My fucking guy, this is why you should watch the Negativity Saga! Question 1. Thoughts on old pivot animations, such as stick figures on crack. Pivot animations are one of those things where it's like, I would love to see them come back, but after a certain while, out of what I remember, they kind of had their lasting effect. It's like, I would like for them to be reinvented instead of just coming back the same way they always were. Stick Figures on Crack was actually a really fun series. For those of you who don't know, Stick Figures on Crack was a hilarious pivot animation that y'all should go check out. I will actually leave the playlist in the description below for y'all to check it out. It's really good stuff. And yeah, I would love to see pivot animations return. However, I want them to be more reinvented instead of just sticking with the exact same style that they had before, if you know what I mean. Question 2. What would happen if Ordis from Warframe and Virabind were to meet? Virabind is a little piece of compacted sass, so I don't think it would work very well for Virabind. Virabind is interesting because he's not very foreboding on his own. He's very much foreboding in the sense of that he controls the Winter Society weapon systems, but other than that, he's practically nothing but a ball of just all talk and all sass. No bite to him. So I feel like Ordis would get annoyed and Verabine would actually go up in flames. That's just the way it would go. Speaking of AI/robot characters, what is your favorite? Mine's GLaDOS and Cortana. Cortana is up there, definitely. As a big fan of the Halo series, I love Cortana as a character. I love a lot of the AI characters from the Halo universe. I mean, going into the wider Halo universe, we could also label the freelancer AIs from Red vs. Blue, specifically Epsilon Church, as probably another one of my favorite AI from, all forms of media. Although, one that I don't really think that a lot of people think about as an AI, but it really is an AI, is the spirit of the Master Sword from The Legend of Zelda, because I really liked the development in Skyward Sword. It's probably one of my favorite Zelda games, even though I'm not huge into the Zelda series, admittedly. I'm not as into it as I want to be. I want to start getting more into it soon. Maybe do, like, gaming playthroughs of it. I don't fucking know. But, yeah, those are my favorites. AI characters are quite interesting. I think they really need to be done well for them to be noticeable. And if they're not done well and not noticeable, they're just bad. Alrighty, next questions are coming to us from Mr. Brandon BBB, creator of quite a bit of the artwork along the channels. Nice to have you here, dude. We have, in regards to the winter ecosystem, will there be more added to it, like a new brand/section? Examples being Forge Fellwork, Winter Talks, something to add to these. I cannot say anything yet. I will say that I do intend to add things to that, but I can't exactly say what those things are. There is one thing that I'm hoping to add pretty decently soon. It's something that I've wanted to do for a little while. I can confirm that more things are going to be added down the road, but I cannot confirm or deny what they are. That's the only thing I can say about that one. Alrighty, now we have questions from Mr. The Real Unknown, instrumental creator and team member of the Winter Ecosystem. Nice to have you on here, dude. We have number 1, how did you get into contact with such big people for the fall? For those of you who don't know, the fall, my original series of books and audio logs on this channel, is going to be turned into an animated series pretty soon. And I have teamed up with, an animation team. I've gotten some pretty decently big-name voice actors, people in terms of the music stuff to go along with it. I've gotten into contact with some pretty big names. And honestly, I don't fucking know. Because the lead animator of this team, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a fully fledged team. It's kind of just a grouping of random people from all across the animator scene. Like, this isn't a company, by the way. Unless we want it to be, I guess. But, like, it's not exactly a big named company. It's more a collection of just random people from around the scene. And they have helped me get into contact with people. Back to the story. Sorry about that little tangent. He found the Before the Fall Book 1, the first chapter of that, and he was like, because he had also seen a bunch of the stuff on the YouTube channel, because the Wattpad sends you to the YouTube, there's a link there. And he saw a bunch of that stuff, and he was like, he emailed me, like, on my business email on Reminiscent Industries, and he was like, hey, do you want to turn this into something? And I'm like, okay, I don't know if this is a scam or not. And so 2 years down the line, we've got some animated models. We've got some, in terms of those animated models, we've got character models, we've got structure models. We haven't exactly gotten anything substantial, really, in terms of said models, but we do have some pretty big name voices for the cast, and I'm really, really excited to showcase that to you guys when we if and when we get to that point. So yeah, I really don't know. So just sheer dumb luck, I guess. Number 2, if you've heard about my analog horror album Cerebrus Incoming, will you do a reaction to it? It probably won't come out until 2025 or something. Yeah. I intend to react to Cerebrus Incoming. At the date of recording this, I have already recorded my reaction to Descent, your original album, and I really enjoyed it. One of the tracks specifically is probably one of the best constructed tracks I have heard in the year 2024. If that tells you anything about how good that album is. For those of you who are wondering what that's about, go check out Unknown's channel, because he's really fucking cool. And the Descent album is really, really well done. So, yeah. Get the fuck out of my house, Ian. I checked this time and you were in my closet holding a Ruby DVD set and you were saying you're gonna see what I saw. What the fuck? You heard me. You're gonna see what I saw. Can you have Andrea, your voice not... That is a surprise. Say, hi Jack, open the door for Andrea. Next, we have a long list of questions from Memory Nightmare. Again, fellow team member. Happy to see you here. We have broken up sections for specific stuff. So we have, finally, it is question time. Here we go, starting with Reminiscent Industries questions. What was the process of making your original EP, The Broken Visage? Okay, so this is really interesting because there wasn't exactly a process. Originally, the idea for The Broken Visage was a collection of demos from the content creator Black Ryuk. I'll leave his stuff probably in the description, or if you've seen The Broken Visage, you already know about him. And he came to me with 5 different instrumental tracks. Now, I will say that not all of these made it to the 3-song EP that you guys know today, but he told me essentially, hey, I have these instrumentals, I know that your vocals are at least half decent. Could you put vocals and lyrics onto them? And I was like,
okay, fucking sure, I guess.
And for the longest time, I had the lyrics to songs that would sound pretty similar to this, actually, in my head. And I thought, hey, this is a great way to get all of this out. It's an EP with a lot of anger and hate and a lot of negative feelings, particularly in the track 3, We All Die Alone. And it is a very interesting EP to look at from an outsider's perspective, like knowing nothing about the details, but it's also really interesting as, you know, someone who's in my inner circle, you know, looking at it that way. And it came out that I could only really do 3 out of the 5 tracks. I would like to do Uneasy Transitioning and... I can't remember the other one's name. Fuck. I would like to do those tracks eventually if I come up with, you know, rhythms, vocals, lyrics, all of that happy jazz for them. I just don't have the time to do that right now. I'm busy with a lot of stuff, including, you know, writing for Remdes, Players and Pieces, another thing fucking that you guys are gonna have announced soon, the fall books. I have a lot on my plate right now in terms of just writing in general, so that won't be done for a good while. But I will tell you guys if and when those are going to be released, because I think it would be really cool to let those see the light of day. Who was your main inspiration for making music, if there was an inspiration? Sheer fucking boredom! I don't really have an inspiration for a lot of the things I do, particularly the original music that I'm going to be doing. It's just a hodgepodge of all of my interests kind of compiled into one monstrous genre thing. That's another thing that you guys are going to notice from my material going forward. There is a lot of the metal and metalcore and rock inspirations, but across all of it, it doesn't really stay into one genre. Not really, at least. Not in my opinion. So, yeah, I don't really have an inspiration, per se. I just carry on doing what I do because I do it, and people just happen to like it. I don't know. If you were to explain The Broken Visage in only 5 words, what would they be? I was sad that day. Was there a song you wanted to completely redo cover-wise? Which one would it be? There's a lot of covers that I've wanted to redo over the years, or just get rid of. Get Jinx serves as an example. When I did that cover, that was a mistake. But I think one of the many covers that I've wanted to redo that is getting a redo is Dance with the Devil from Breaking Benjamin. I did that cover, I want to say 2021 or 22, and I haven't really touched it since. And lately I've been working on more of the Broken Collection cover collections, so you guys will see that. The other one that I've really wanted to redo is... It's a little track called When Demons Come to Life. It's an original song from the band Halocene. I've really wanted to cover that song again because I feel like I just didn't do it that much justice back when I did the original cover. So, yeah. Maybe you'll see that one come back pretty soon-ish. If I can get it done. And now on to the Memory Nightmare Winter Does Stuff and Forge Fellwork questions. This one should be fun. I've seen that you've been doing more shows as of late. Examples: Fallout, Blue Eye Samurai, Vox Machina, Arcane coming in December. Please, please give those videos attention when they go on. Copyright has been an absolute whore! If you were to pick one, which is your absolute favorite so far? In terms of the three listed, Blue Eye Samurai. Blue Eye Samurai is one of those shows that barely comes up once in, like, ever. It is a French animated Netflix show. It has been really bad with copyright. Episode 2 actually got taken down, and I can't bring it back up, otherwise I'll get copyright struck. But that is probably my favorite one. I would say Vox Machina would be next, just because the level of talent in that show from, you know, the voice cast, the animation team, the writers, just everybody in that show is so tightly knit together, and it's really, really cool to see that level of talent just blossoming from one thing, and I think it's really cool. And then in terms of that, Fallout is good. I will not discredit Fallout for being as good as it is. However, it just doesn't quite stand up to the other two, at least in my opinion. The other two are a little bit better. They have that edge. You know, being an animated show, I love animated shows better than I do live action. But it's also really good. And Arcane, obviously. I've reacted to episodes 1, 2, and 3 of Arcane from the date of recording this. And those reactions should be coming to you guys in December. So, yay, that's really fun. How did you come up with the characters for the Forged Fellwork Omniverse? I've been curious about that one. The Forged Fellwork Omniverse is weird because I've come up with so many characters, nearly 100 named characters over the course of the series. And it started with me just making the self-insert character Jeff. He was just a lonely guy walking through the streets trying to find out what his purpose was in life. I guess I just really build these characters based off of my own experiences at the time. A lot of the characters are kind of made on the spot without much to really see them developed. And over time, I guess I just kind of put them along with other characters and just kind of make them fit. I don't really have a good answer for this one, honestly. So I just make them. I make up names and I make up kind of what they look like. And that's pretty much it. That's kind of the explanation that I can give to you there. Question number 3. For Winter Talks, out of curiosity, how long is this series going for so far? I'm loving the podcast/interview series. Winter Talks will literally go on for as long as I can make it go for. We currently have all of the guests for Season 3. Season 2 is just finished recording, and the production process is done for Season 2. Those will go out in December and January, and I'm hoping for Season 3 to go out around April, May time, if not May, June time. So, yeah. Thank you for being patient with those, by the way. And finally, question 4. More ducks. Yes. Yes. More ducks will happen next year, not this year. Given that it's going into the winter time for me, Winter. Given that it's going into the more wintertime months for me, the ducks are not at the pond anymore, so I will not be able to record any more of them this year, but next year in the spring and summer and even in towards the fall months, I will be posting more of winter duck stuff. The best series on my channel. You guys should check it out. Thank you to Memory for these questions. Yay! And now, the final question out of the Discord questions, we have my buddy Mac. Nice to see you, my dude. What's the reason behind working on so many things at once? I'm genuinely curious. You have tons of books, videos, and songs going on at once. Do you get to take breaks at all? What's the reason? To validate myself, because I have crippling senses of self-doubt, self-deprecation, and just trying to validate myself so that I can feel good, I can put things out into the world and say, hey, I did that, and have people be proud of me for once. But no, for real, that genuinely is the reason, because I have such high anxiety in me that I just have to put out as much as I can into the world in order to think I'm okay. I have a reason for being here. And do I get to take breaks at all? What's a break? I don't know that Pokemon. Thanks for the questions. I did send in the requests on Discord into this, but I've also gotten some questions on YouTube. So let's go to the Reminiscent Industries side of things, where we have one question from Elytrii, I believe that's how you spell that, or pronounce that. Will other Onyx Colony songs be covered, and are all future releases metal? Will other Onyx Colony songs be covered? I hope so. Myself, Ryuk, and Shardline released the Onyx Colony Rebirth Recovered project because it wasn't, totally finished. It was kind of just scrapped for a good, I want to say, like 4 months before before I actually decided to, put it out into the world. But I really do hope to fulfill the end result of what we wanted that project to be, which was 26 songs total, 13 tracks on 2 albums, covering a lot of Onyx Colony stuff from back in the day. I really do want to do that with Shard and Ryuk, but they're busy with life stuff right now, so unfortunately I won't be able to do that anytime soon. But we do eventually plan to return to that. That's something I've been talking to them about actually a lot more recently in order to go for. And are all future releases metal? I definitely did answer this a tiny bit in my, talking about, music stuff on Reminiscent Industries stuff, but no. Because, as I said with my inspiration talk, I primarily do a lot of things that are, metalcore, rock stuff, the stuff that goes chug 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 and brrrs. But I do a lot of stuff that isn't metal. I do just a bunch of music stuff, and I really hope that you guys do listen to the stuff that isn't metal, because there's actually a lot of stuff on Reminiscent Industries that's gone fairly unnoticed that I would really like you guys to check out. It's not my usual style of doing things, but it's stuff I really want to get into more in the future, and that goes along with my original stuff. It's not all going to be metal and metalcore. It's going to be a mix of a lot of different stuff, and metal and metalcore. Thanks for the questions, Elytrii. Let's go over to Winter Does Stuff, shall we? Alrighty, on the Winter Does Stuff side of things, we have 3 people here. We have Thomas Fan 1928. Nice to see you. When did you start your channel? I started this channel, I want to say December of 2022. Is when I started actually posting videos on here. I've had this channel for a long time. I actually, posted videos before that, but that was an era of the channel that you guys are never gonna see from me again, and I thank Christ for that. Any shows do you like? Well, let's see. Fallout, Blue Eye Samurai, Legend of Vox Machina, I love those. Hell of Boss, Has Been Hotel, I've reacted to those on the channel. I love Arcane. there's way too many shows to count. Ruby, Rooster Teeth. I'm into a lot of shows that really people I don't think would label me. Like, you wouldn't look at me and think I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of House. My dad and I are Big Bang Theory watchers. At least we have been for a good while. There's just a lot of shows. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is a great one. Supernatural. There's a lot of horror TV shows that I'm into, including American Horror Story. There's just so many shows that I'm into. So take that as you will. I'm a little bit of a cinephile, or like what's the term for like cinephile, but for TV people? Is it the same thing? I don't know. Tell me in the comments. And finally, question 3: who's your favorite Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel character? Hell of a Boss. I think I relate to Blitzo the most in terms of Hell of a Boss stuff, but I really like Fizz as a character. His development in season 2 was fantastic. I also, for both the wrong reasons and the right reasons, actual in-show reasons and not in-show reasons, I am a fan of Luna, because Luna is a very interesting character, and I want to get more about her backstory in terms of, before she met Blitz. I assume we're going to get that in season 3. So, yeah. And Has Been Hotel, God, there's way too many characters. I love Charlie. She's an excellent lead for the show. I love Angel. He grew on me a lot in season 2. Serpentius is another great one. Lucifer, especially, he has probably the best lines in the show. Take that, depression, being one of them specifically. And I really do like Adam as an antagonist. He's such an unbearable asshole, but there's something about the charisma that he has that's just absolutely fantastic. So, yeah. That's about it from Thomas Fan. Thank you very much for sending in questions. Alright, and on the Winter Dust Stuff side of things, we have DarthNaith. Thank you very much for sending in questions, dude. Hi, Winter. Can I do more than one question? If not, just pick one randomly. I will be answering as many questions as I can. So, where did you learn everything you know about music? This is a very complicated question, because as I said, I have inspirations in terms of music from all around. My own searchings, my father influenced me in my music taste quite a fucking lot. He really helped me get into more rock-based elements, going into heavier stuff later down the line. My mother actually, I don't really talk to her anymore, but she introduced me to a lot of the more contemporary music that I listen to nowadays, though I learned a bit less from her, and just my own personal experiences with going through music. I love music. I've always said that music is my first language and English is my second, because music is just the way that I communicate with people the best, even though I will say I'm a lot better of a writer than I am a musician. I still think that the best way for me to communicate with people is through music. So, yeah. Question number 2. Which song is darker for you, The Judgment Day or Plague? This is a very interesting question, and not really a comparison that I think about too often. Judgment Day and Plague are very interesting tracks because, for those of you who don't know, Judgment Day from Lone Wolf Music / Sammy Psychotic Fox, and Plague from Will Ryan and his Iris story. Plague is one of those interesting tracks where it was a very small track, all things considered. It was a very minuscule, very minimalistic, I would say, track in the grand scheme of Iris, but I do think it is the darker song, specifically because of the context in which it was written and the context that surrounded its release as well. Judgment Day was written at a time, yes, where Sammy was feeling very dark, and thoughts of, self-termination were a thing, but especially when the release for Judgment Day came out. Those thoughts weren't very present out of what I can recollect. So Plague, I think, is the darker track in terms of my opinions surrounding it. It's a lot more somber. It's a lot more creepy and eerie, honestly. Whereas Judgment Day is the more dark one in terms of its lyrical content and the fact that, honestly, and Sammy, I've told Sammy this is a little bit too edgy to be particularly dark for me. So, but that's just my opinion. Is there any city or country in specific that you would really want to visit? I really want to go to England because I have some English friends. I would like to go to Japan because there's just a hell of a lot of culture there. I really don't know about anywhere else. I do want to go to the Boston area, the Massachusetts, that kind of area, because I have a couple of friends who live over there who I've been talking about meeting up with them for years. So I would really like to go there. I want to do a bunch of, I just kind of want to do a bunch of stuff like that. I don't know about anything specific right now, but eventually, just when I can, if and when I can, I just know that if and when I can, I would want to do quite a bit of traveling, because I would, like to experience a lot more of the small world that I've been introduced to so far. So, yeah. Thanks for that one. How big or small is my chance to appear in Winter Talks in the future? Winter Talks is, as I've explained here with One of Memory's questions, Winter Talks is my podcast series. Just honestly, if we have enough topics to go through, any creator can join me on Winter Talks. I have a creator on there he thinks he's only really done one thing in particular that would be really big to kind of talk about. But I would just love to talk to any and all creators. So anybody who is a creator, on whatever it is, reactions, music, whether you're an artist or a director, a voice actor, anything like that, hit me up. Join the Discord. It'll be in the description so that you guys can join that and hang out. There's a lot of people there. There's a lot of really cool people. Yeah. So pretty much anybody can be on Winter Talks as long as there's a sufficient amount to talk about. Why do you love so much the key changes? I know it is because they are really good, but I really want to hear your opinion. Key changes are my favorite thing in all of music. And I love them specifically because they change the dynamic of a song for quite a few reasons. See, you have tracks, for example, one of the more recent tracks that has a key change in my mind is Safe Haven from the album A Lover and a Fighter Rematch. And that key change just fills you with hope and happiness and relief. But there are some key changes that can do something different for you. And a key change that comes to mind with that there's actually two of them that I have in my head. Number one is Pain Remains to After All I've Done, I'll Disappear by Lorna Shore. That track is a very dark track. And towards the end of the song, there is a portion, especially if you watch the accompanying music video, that gets very dark and very disturbing and very dire for the circumstances in the video, and it reaches just an emptiness inside. And then a key change happens, making the dichotomy of, the song having, a big old key change, stepping it up a few notches of semitones. But contrasted with that dark theme, it makes a sense of hollowness and eeriness that's really uncomfortable. And stuff like that really hooks me, because I love music that challenges the way that music is traditionally done. So that kind of stuff is awesome. That's why I love key changes, because they just shift the dynamics and the way a song feels so easily with just the raising of semitones and raising of notes. So yeah, it's really special stuff. And then question 6, favorite Nintendo game. I'm not much of a Nintendo person. I have talked about, Legend of Zelda in this video enough. But I would have to say Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta is probably one of my favorite gaming series of all time that I don't really get to talk to people about because they label it very much as the Nintendo series for gooners. And while some of that is true, there is plenty of material for those of that nature who want to go there. There's also a lot of genuine, heartfelt storytelling in the Bayonetta games, and it's also just action-packed, hack and slash fun. So, yeah, Bayonetta series is definitely my favorite from Nintendo's lineup. And finally, we have a comment from Miss LKCorvus, also known as Trixie. Love you, bird sis. Here is your freebie to go on a tangent about something your regular content doesn't give you many opportunities to talk about. Something cool happened to you that you want to share? Got a funny story? Any food or drink brands you want to shout out besides Lipton? Go for it, bestie. Whatever it is your girl's got you. Thanks. Honestly, I really don't have much to talk about. I'm pretty transparent with what I do in terms of, like, cool stories I want to tell, funny stories. There's just a lot of stuff going on right now that, I want to talk about as well, but it's a case of, like, choosing when to talk about stuff. But, yeah, I really don't, I really don't have anything for this one. I'll just insert a preview of the Nerdcore track that's coming out on Christmas, I guess. And that is the second Winter Ecosystem Q&A. I hope you all have enjoyed. I hope I have answered all of the questions in a satisfactory fashion. That took a lot to say. That took me like 3 takes. Yeah, it was really fun doing this. I love doing Q&As. Q&As are really fun. There's a lot of content coming this month, December. There's Arcane reactions. There's Winter Talk Season 2. There's the reactions that come out along with that, which is a pain. And there's just going to be a lot of stuff coming during this very last month of the year 2024. So I hope you all have enjoyed. I hope I've answered all of your questions, again, satisfactorily as I can. Yeah, I've been Winter. We've done the second Winter Ecosystem Q&A. That's about it from me. Peace. In due time.